don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, I am Ky Westbrook, a USC graduate. I run track and field, the 100 and 200 are my specialties. I've been running since I was 9 years old, and I am a 2021 Tokyo Olympic hopeful.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm Scott Palumbo. I'm on the board of the Brain Injury Alliance of Arizona, so thank you for helping us with this great event. I have to admit, though, I feel a little old because your father used to play football at Colorado, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And in the 1995 Fiesta Bowl, they beat a Notre Dame team that I was on.
Wow.
So now I'm having a former competitor's daughter interview who's made a great name for herself. So you're making me feel old.
Sorry about that.
So we're talking, you went to USC,
Yes.
undergrad, and you're in the top 10 of multiple sprinting events all time, aren't you?
Yes, Arizona.
Yeah. As a former punter with no athletic ability, I think that is very impressive. But we're here now in these unprecedented times, COVID-19. You were hopefully looking to make the 2020 Olympic team, correct?
Yes.
And that's changed.
Yes.
So they've pushed off the Olympic trials to 2021. How has this changed your approach to your goal? Did you question yourself about whether or not you wanted to continue to try, or how has this COVID-19 delay affected you?
I think the biggest difficulty in this whole time was just the uncertainty of it. It was a constant unknowing of if the Olympics was going to happen, if the season was going to happen. And I think that goes for all athletes in all sports and at all levels, college, youth, professional. Nobody really knew, training facilities were closing down, coaches weren't able to train their athletes, people weren't able to use equipment. And so it just became really hard to know what we were supposed to do as athletes. For me personally, I became very worried that I wasn't going to be able to continue track because it was a big year for me. I was really hoping to go to the Olympics, and I was really thinking that this was going to be my make or break year, and that if it didn't work out this year, I might not continue track. So for it to get canceled and pushed off a year really made me reflect on what I wanted and how long I was willing to train and how badly I really wanted to reach that goal of being an Olympic athlete. And ultimately, I had to know that this is something I really want for myself, and this is something I really want to do in my life is represent my country and give everything I have towards a goal. So all of that being said, it was really hard. I really didn't know what I was going to do, but I was glad to have the time to reflect and figure out that this is something I want to do even more now.
We are here talking about the Brain Injury Alliance of Arizona, where brain health is an important thing. You talked a little bit about the uncertainties and the fact that for all of us, this is a high anxiety time.
Right.
It's stressful.
Right.
What types of things have you been able to do to try to keep your brain as healthy as possible?
Right. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stress going on, and it doesn't help when the days all run together because nobody can go outside. So it's important. I've noticed that it really helps me to keep a schedule and just make sure that I have very specific days. So I'm not, my day isn't from 5 p.m. to, 8 a.m. and then I sleep in the middle of the day. And
Right.
It's important to keep the days as days and the nights as nights. Another thing that's helped is just making sure I'm staying hydrated and keeping a pretty healthy diet, and still finding time to just move your body and get the blood flowing, because when you don't do those things, it can lead to a very depressive state. It can really weigh on you, and especially as athletes, we're so used to being active all of the time. I just think it's important to try to keep your day as normal as possible and focus on kind of staying a little bit more scheduled.
It's interesting that you talked about, when all of us, I'm a lawyer, you're a professional athlete, we are consumed in our normal lives in normal times. We are far from normal now. We have that free time that we're sometimes forced to confront things because we're sitting around thinking and that we otherwise could put off because we're so busy.
Right.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yes. I know that a lot of people put their daily stress into work, into their sport, into whatever they do on a daily basis. And this downtime has really forced people to confront those issues and settle with those issues and understand them. And that's going to be really hard for some people. So I think that the Brain Injury Alliance comes into play here because it can provide resources for people who struggle with that, who struggle with not understanding how to live outside of work, not understanding how to live outside of their sport, or not being used to it, maybe not even understanding, but not being used to it. So I think that this is where the Brain Injury Alliance can be really, really helpful and really important. I was so focused on Olympics, and then it was just poof in the air. I was like, what am I going to do for a whole year? For sure, refocusing on a new goal made me be like, okay, this is my new timeline. This is what I want to get done in 2 months. I want to be here in terms of how strong I am, or in terms of how, many crunches I can do. Like just setting small goals to reach a larger goal. And even if it has nothing to do with my sport, even if it's like, I really want to be able to play a song on the piano. Okay, I'm going to learn a little bit every day. Just refocus on something new, something that excites you, something that makes you happy. And hopefully that'll help you create a schedule so you're not just running through the days of just TV, Netflix, and just...
Every day seems like Groundhog Day?
Yes, every day seems like Groundhog Day, and it's the same snacks, and it's the same, the same couch, it's, same people. It can be really hard.
And have you found that you have to be perfect at doing that, or it's okay, if you don't meet, you're not perfect one day, you shouldn't beat yourself up on that. Just, try to do better the next day.
Absolutely. I mean, no day is going to be perfect, especially right now, because, we all have to hold kind of ourselves accountable. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think that's even more important is to be forgiving of yourself and understanding that this is a time that nobody has experienced before, and there is no wrong way to do it. There is no right way to do it. It's just about keeping yourself as mentally healthy as possible in these times.
And don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Because that makes
it worse.
It makes it worse.
Yes, for sure.
How does it go? What have you heard about the Olympics next year? They go from 2020 to 2021. Have you heard any scoop about what it's going to look like, how it's going to be different, or how your sport is changing and evolving?
I don't know anything other than that it's just been moved, but I personally think that the Olympics is going to be more exciting because every year there's always going to be pretty much the same people. Like, oh, this person did great last year, so we can expect to see them in the Olympics this year, or we can expect to see them do well, unless there's like a major change. And this is a time when there's a whole year of development.
So you have the extra time now to help develop your skills and talents that you wouldn't have otherwise had because you just came out of college, and now you have this extra time.
Exactly.
Another good thing is if with the social distancing in your sport, if you run fast enough, you're going to keep 6 feet apart from the closest person.
Right. Hopefully I can be 6 feet ahead.
Well, hey, thank you so much for helping out this great organization.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.